Hello, saints and scholars. Welcome back to Theolife, where today we are discussing the teleological argument. Teleological. That's a fun $5 word. Try to use it in a sentence today. The teleological argument argues that the existence of God is implicit in the fact that the universe is orderly and powerful and purposeful. It's very clear that the universe is very beautiful and powerful and exciting, and something within the human spirit just burns to know it better. Do you ever think about why we go to the moon? Kind of a weird, expensive, strange thing that human beings do that you wonder, does it actually serve any purpose? We do it because we're excited about the wonderful universe in which we live and we want to know it better. The universe is actually governed by these super exciting laws. Every time I drop something, it falls to the ground. It always does. I could do this all day. And it's little weird things like this that the universe always does that are called laws of the universe. All around us are these incredible laws where the universe seems to do the same thing again and again and is governed by these repeatable practices. And the more we do these laws, the more exciting life is, and the more we know about the universe, and the more useful things become. And we're part of this exciting scientific journey of understanding these laws better and better. And these laws and this complexity and this order all seem to coagulate together to testify to an intelligent, orderly, creative mind behind the tuning of the universe. Teleology comes from the Greek telos, meaning design or purpose, and ology, meaning study of. Let's break down the teleological argument into a syllogism. A handy syllogism for the teleological argument would be: Premise 1, the universe displays purposeful design and complex order. Premise 2, purposeful design always emanates from an intelligent designer. Conclusion, therefore the universe must have an intelligent designer. And through this section, we're going to look at the teleological argument from three perspectives. The first perspective, and possibly the most famous, is called the Watchmaker analogy. The second is the fine-tuning argument. The final is informational theory and biological irreducible complexity. First, let's examine the Watchmaker analogy. The Watchmaker analogy asks you to close your eyes and imagine you're walking down a beautiful, secluded beach. While you're strolling along the ocean shore, rocking your Bermuda shorts, you notice upon the ground a pocket watch and a stone. Now, the stone is not particularly surprising. The stone doesn't seem to have much purpose or design. It could have been there for a very long time, completely unremarkably. It could merely be an accident of nature pushed along by the ocean current. But the pocket watch is going to strike you as immediately quite different. Let's break these differences down into three compartments. You can measure the difference between these two items by looking at complexity, functionality, and purpose. For those of you who don't know, a pocket watch is a pretty complicated device. I wouldn't personally know myself. I've never had the time to build a pocket watch. But a pocket watch is filled of dozens highly engineered and perfectly specific parts. These parts have to be so specifically arranged so they get the very seconds of the day always correct. Every part has a place and every place has a purpose. Whereas a stone is just a stone. Next, let's examine functionality. Every part of your stopwatch was specifically designed in order to tell you the time. How do you tell if a stopwatch is functional or not? Pretty simply, does it tell the time correctly? If this pocket watch is fulfilling its purpose, then the pocket watch is functioning correctly. Whereas, how do you have a non-functional stone? You don't really walk past a stone and be like, "Hey, great job, stone! You are killing it right now." I mean, there's some stones out there, but you as a stone, man, you are doing exactly what a stone is supposed to be doing. You are the most tailor-made stone I have ever seen in my life. Great job, stone! Third, the pocket watch has got a purpose. When the designer designed a pocket watch, they had a problem in mind. Human beings needed to know the time of day and didn't have a portable way of doing so.
What time is it?
The pocket watch solved that problem by being a portable way to tell the time from wherever you were. Genius.
I'm genius.
Now, we can certainly use stones to fix problems, but you can't say stones were designed to fix the problem. Stones can be used to fix a purpose, but they weren't created in order to fix that purpose. The Watchmaker analogy is a way of showing that there is an obvious conclusion to the complexity of a pocket watch. It has a designer. Something with obvious complexity, functionality, and purpose would clearly be the result of an intelligent mind. But the watchmaker analogy asks us to go a step further. It says if you would take something as simple as a pocket watch and conclude it comes from an intelligent mind, why would you not apply the same principle to the infinitely more complicated universe? Take the function of the human eyeball. Take the biological miracle of photosynthesis. Take the glorious ballet of the gravitational forces that swing the universe around into a choreographed glory of solar systems. Billions of times more complicated than a pocket watch, yet we would clearly conclude an intelligent design from a pocket watch. Let's break this down into a syllogism. Premise 1. Based on the complexity, functionality, and purpose of a pocket watch, we would conclude it came from an intelligent designer. Premise 2. The universe displays greater degrees of complexity, functionality, and purpose than a pocket watch. Conclusion, we would have a greater degree of confidence that the universe is a result of an intelligent mind rather than a pocket watch. From this syllogism, we have to ask ourselves two questions. First, where does this specified complexity come from? And second, how complicated does something need to be before we bring in a designer? To ask the question a different way, did intelligence arise from intelligence, or did intelligence arise from non-organic material? Take a moment and check out your incredible body. With all of its wonderful organs doing amazing stuff all the time, you are a masterpiece of complexity, functionality, and design. Leading us once again to ask the question, does intelligence arise from intelligence, or intelligence arise from non-organic material? We can measure this by performing another experiment. Put a bunch of human beings in the desert. Right away, those human beings are going to get to work in building a society. They'll search for food, they'll search for water, and they will search for shelter. They will even rapidly develop a meritocracy sociological structure where the best people for certain tasks are given those jobs. At the same time, create a space full of non-organic material and ask yourself, how long would it take for this system to create something with complexity, purpose, and functionality? As amazing as the universe is, it provides no known system for creating intelligent order from inorganic material. Intelligent human beings can turn rocks into buildings, but rocks can never create buildings, systems of government, or write the Twilight novels. There is no known system throughout the entire universe where complexity, functionality, and purpose can arise from inorganic material. Therefore, we must note that the only known system in the universe to create complexity, functionality, and purpose is intelligence, leading us to the conclusion that intelligence does not arise from non-organic material. Next, let's ask how complicated is too complicated? How complicated does something need to be before we bring in a designer? Especially because complexity is kind of a vague term that means different things to different people. Let's go back to our beach and study our pocket watch and stone a little more closely. We may conclude that the pocket watch had a designer, but we also must conclude that the rock had a designer if you're a theist who believes God created everything. What if, instead of a watch, we find two stones? Say one stone is perfectly smooth, but the second stone is cracked in two. Now, most reasonably intelligent people would note that a stone being cracked in two is perfectly normal and could happen accidentally. It is certainly not the sign of intelligence. Now let's imagine the stone has got 3 chips on it. Would this be a sign of intelligence? Probably not, as stones get chips on them all the time from accidental and natural occurrences. Not really a sign of intelligence. Now let's examine a stone that's got 10 chips on it, and those 10 chips are all pointed in a specific way to give the stone a nice pointy, sharp edge. Now things get a little bit more complicated. This second stone might have a purpose. It could have been created to kill or to stab or to cut things or to do whatever fun things we can imagine to do with sharp objects. Now let's step it up. Imagine we can see a rock that's got 30 chips in it, all beautifully chipped to form a nice pointy end on it. An intelligent person will conclude that this rock was chipped with a purpose. It is designed with complexity, functionality, and purpose, clearly made by an intelligent mind to kill something or as part of their agricultural system. With something as small as 10 to 30 chips, a reasonably intelligent person could conclude that these rocks came together from an intelligence due to their complexity, purpose, and functionality. This is a relatively tiny amount of markers we would require to point to an intelligent mind. Our famous clock has got hundreds of functioning moving parts, and we determine it has a designer. The E. coli cell, possibly the simplest living organism on the Earth, has got over 3 billion moving parts, far more than the 10 to 30 on our rock. If after a very low level of complexity, human beings will point to a designer, then we can look at the infinitely more complicated universe and note that there must be infinitely more reasons to believe in an intelligent designer behind all creation, thus pointing to an intelligent mind behind the creation of the universe, or as we like to call him, God.